Hey, welcome back. This is a look at exercises 1B and 1C, which are found here on page 5 of the first chapter. The lead up to this exercise, or these exercises, was a sort of recap on parts of speech, nouns, adjectives, and verbs. So, again, since you're all, I'm assuming, at least in ninth grade, I think that's a safe assumption. I'm assuming you've seen nouns, adjectives, and verbs before. So if you can recognize them in English, you can certainly recognize them at this stage in Latin as well, as long as you can translate the words. So let's have a look at 1B. Um, One other thing, they always have cool um, examples of like Roman art and like ancient Roman tchotchkes dug up in various parts of the empire. So good to look over the pictures. It's something I don't do enough of as a teacher. I'm so dwelling on the grammar a lot of the time, but do notice all the beautiful things that the Romans left behind for us to enjoy. It's always worth it to stop and smell the roses, as they say. So exercise 1B. Let's have a look at this. What part of speech is each of the following? Listed in the order in which they occur in the story on page 3, which we saw in the first video. So these words mean puella means girl, villa means country house, legit means reads, altera means another or a second, like Flavia est altera puella. Flavia is a second girl in the picture. Here's Flavia herself, and then we see scribit. Scribit means writes, and that is also a verb, obviously. So, very quickly for this exercise, we say puella. Whoops, excuse me. Puella equals a noun, right? There's no doubt. Puella means girl. A girl is a person, place, or a thing. So, that is a noun. And then we have villa. I can't make these long marks, or I can, but it takes a while, so I won't always have those long marks in there. If it's critical, I'll point out where it's critical. You do not have, virtual high school students do not have to write out long marks for the most part. I don't insist on that, but they are sometimes critical, and where they are, I'll make sure I let you know. Villa means country house, and this, of course, is another noun. And then we have legate. Number 3 is legate. Legate is a verb, right? Legate means reads, is reading, does read. So reading is an action that a person can take, and so we say this is a verb. So I will let you figure out altera, which means other or second. Not like 1 second. A second there is a noun, but this is like the second girl in the picture. What part of speech is that? If there's any doubt about that, go back up here and have a look. Hopefully there is no doubt about it. Okay, so moving on to 1C. This is translating back into Latin from an English sentence. In the picture is a country house and farm. So now, typically when you have English into Latin translations, it will say use the story as a guide. So typically you won't necessarily find these exact sentences, but you will find something close to it. In the picture is a country house and farm. Now notice this English sentence requires 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But in Latin we can do it in 4. In pictura, actually no, I guess we can do it in 5. In pictura est villa rustica. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, Latin, a very condensed, tight language. So that's all that's required for in the picture is a country house and farm. You have to resist the urge to try to use articles. They just don't exist. In pictura means in the picture. So no articles here. There's no word for this, and there's no word for this. And that's it for the first one. Number 2, a little more simple. Cornelia is happy. If we go back to the story, we don't need to translate Cornelia. She stays Cornelia. But we do need to know how to say is, and we need to know how to say happy. So we're going to say Cornelia. Start with that. Cornelia is happy. Now, the word for is not listed here, but again, it's right there. They sort of snuck it in, and you sort of noticed it without really paying attention to it, perhaps. But the word est means is. So Cornelia est, and then what's the word for happy? The word for happy is leita. Leita. And again, this there is a there it is right there. Cornelia est leita. So I say again, excuse me. You won't necessarily have the exact sentence that the exercise asked you for, but you can see it's right there embedded in this sentence, right? So look for it, reread the passage if you need to, or just use the vocabulary and come up with your best guess for it. Um, and I think that's as far as I'm going to go, since again we're at the easiest stage here. You'll have to figure out how to say Cornelia is sitting under the tree. Now, actually, I'm going to give you this one too because I want to make a point early on here. You're going to be tempted as English speakers to say est for is here, and that's understandable. We use it in English. Why don't they just do it in Latin? Why don't they get with the program, right? But the word sedet, which I'll go back to the story again real quick. The word sedet, because Latin is so compact, it's this set means is sitting. So we do not need to say this. We just need the sedet. And that's a mistake that's going to happen a number of times before you get used to it. So don't worry about making that mistake. But I just wanted to point it out here for the first time. Cornelia sedet. Cornelia is sitting, or Cornelia sits. And then under the tree is sub arbore. Now you'll say, Mr. Turkleson, why is this verb not at the end of the sentence? And that's a fair point. Cornelia sub arbore sedet. Is it absolutely essential to always have the verb at the end of the sentence? No. But I want you to get into the habit of it. Think subject, verb at the end, and then things that typically come after the verb will come before the verb in Latin. Latin is an interesting language in that the Romans seem to want to save words. It's almost like they're anticipating action at the end of the sentence. So Cornelia under the tree, and it's almost like, wow, what's she doing under the tree, right? She is sitting. So this for some reason, this is idiosyncratic. This is kind of typical of Latin, that they save certain words, they hold it, whereas we get the action out in English right away. The action is sort of saved until the end of the sentence often in Latin. So that's something to get used to. Okay, so now I've given you 3 out of 5. Now you'll have to get Flavia is a Roman girl and Cornelia now lives in the country house. Don't forget the now. Now is where? There it is right there. Yam. That's not pronounced I am or yam. It's just yam. That I, when it comes before a vowel, is just like a Y often. That's another thing about Latin pronunciation that you'll sort of get with time. Okay, that's all I'm going to do for now. Good luck to everybody for Chapter 1. Take care.